plastic, which are separate sheets, there's kind of two options. You can either do it before you put the top on, if you're using the polyethylene, which would be the same as the 6 mil top. You could do it after. You could do it before you put the top on, or you could do it after you put the top on.
Attach at the top and pull down, or you can attach at the bottom and pull up, and we just came to the conclusion that it's about the same thing. So I think we're going to go on the bottom and then pull it up. So what we could do is we want to leave a little bit extra down at the bottom, so if it needs to be adjusted, and we usually leave some and throw some dirt on top of it or something like that.
If you are doing polyethylene like the top, it's usually going to need to be changed out. They sell it as 4-year plastic. In the north, I think we get a longer life because our UV in the winter isn't as intense. So you might be switching the ends and the top at the same time. So in that case, it wouldn't matter if you did them in either order. If you're using a different material for the end, like they have some woven poly that is kind of like ripstop or landscape fabric, but it's a white color. And that usually is guaranteed for 8 years. If you're using that kind of end material, you're going to want to put your ends on first, so that when you change out the top, which will probably happen before you change out the ends, you don't have to take the ends off.
We've built houses strong enough that we haven't had issues with snow load. So Grand Rapids on the west side of Michigan, not this year but last year, got the most recorded snow since snow has been recorded there. I think they got something like 104 inches of snow or something like that 2 years ago, and none of the houses that we had that were part of our research project collapsed.
What we usually do is roll it out on one side, throw some ropes over the top of the hoop house on the outside of all the purlins and the bows, and then we're tying off with a tennis ball or something soft. We've used a potato. You don't really want to use something, we've used something like golf balls, and it was too small and it ended up popping through the plastic. But racquetballs or tennis balls seem to be really good. So what we do is roll out on one side, throw the ropes over, tie off, and for say a 96-foot long, we would use a minimum of probably 5 ropes. And what we're doing is having some people on one side pulling over and some people on the other side helping to unfold the sheet of plastic as it goes over. So it comes up and over, you're trying to pull it at the same speed so that it's not getting crooked on there. And then once it gets over to the other side, the people that we're pulling can then hold the plastic so it doesn't blow, and the people who are helping unfold can hold it so it doesn't blow. Then we usually have a couple people running around, and if it's a single layer of plastic, we're going to try to get everything squared up, get it tight. If it's 2 layers of plastic, what we do is get it on there, get it squared. It works pretty well that there's the creases from where it was folded. You can usually line those up with either the hip board or the baseboard to make sure it's square. And then go ahead, and we usually put some wiggle wire, usually 2 pieces on each side of the ridge at each end, and then 2 pieces on each of the sides going down the sides. And that's kind of just to hold it in place so that when we pull the next layer over, it doesn't slide around. So then what we would do is, while it's held in place, we're then rolling out the second layer, throwing the ropes back over, tying on, and pulling that over again. So usually if we are cooling passively, which would mean no fans to pull air across or out, no pads that we would run water through to pull air through to cool down. And if the house is larger than, say, 20 feet long, where we can just open the doors and vent, we're usually adding roll-up sides to the house, especially if it's like a 48, a 72, a 96, or 144 feet long. And what those do are the space between the hip board and the baseboard basically acts like a curtain, so you can raise it up and down. If you don't have roll-up sides, then you wouldn't have that hip board. So that's the main reason for the hip board is to be able to have roll-up sides. The way that it works are, well, there's a number of different ways it works. some of them, most of them roll up from the bottom up. There are some that they're making now that roll from the hip board down, and those are drop down sides. But the idea is the same, that you're kind of trying to open up windows for the most part on each side of the hoop house and let air blow through and cool it off. Clearly it's not going to be as cool as, say, a pad and fan system or you know, something else where you're actively cooling, but at the same time it doesn't have the costs that go along with those systems. It usually works by putting some sort of either eye bolt or screw or bolt or something into the baseboard, and then laying a roll-up or laying a round piece of piping on those bolts so that it's level. Then where the plastic comes down over it, you're going ahead and putting either some kind of lath or some kind of, you know, which is either wood or metal depending, to hold that plastic in place. Then at one end there'd be a crank so you can raise it up and down.
Thank you guys. You guys were all great. Yeah.